Publishing Persuasion. I'm Angela Montoya, and I am here with Melanie Schubert, who has just agreed to come to Tampa.
Oh my God.
I was waiting until we hit record. Melanie Schubert has promised to come to Tampa.
I specifically did not promise. We'll have to see like what the next year brings and what my anxiety levels are like. But I'm not ruling it out. Because like if I was gonna come over for something, like shit, this sounds like the thing to come for, right?
I know. Yeah. For our listeners, we just wrapped up speaking to the co-founders of YA by the Bay, which is going to be this amazing young adult book festival. And the ladies, Dominique and Sorboni, they made it official that Melanie Schubert will be the keynote speaker. She's coming.
Hey, Angela Montoya, I am not the one that agreed. You are on record having agreed to go, so you have to be there.
Hey, you know what? After listening to all the things they had to say about the festival that they're putting together, I will be there.
Yeah.
And I will absolutely find a way to go. So, I'm sure it's not that long of a flight from Australia to Florida. I'm sure it's not a big deal.
We'll see. I'm not ruling it out. I'd love to. It's just, it feels like a very big, overwhelming thing. Considering my first trip in a very long time was one measly weekend away for a few days. So, but I did it. And like, how much different is it going to America to flying to Queensland? Not that different, especially not when I have such a loving writer family.
Yes.
Like my writer family is growing in America, and I feel like, yeah, we always talk about on the podcast how we're introverts and how we need a lot of naps. So I feel like it would be a safe space, that I would. Yeah. And it just sounds, what they're doing just sounds, I couldn't stop thinking to myself, it sounds like they're building Writer Church.
Yes.
We talk about like we've brought it back to Writer Church. It sounds like they're building Writer Church that people can actually go and participate, and everybody is going to be seen. Everybody's going to feel like a part of that. And I just think it's definitely something I've felt is missing in past writing events. You definitely feel the gap of like, it can feel very gated at some of those things. And I think that this type of thing is trying to remove that. Like they want people to interact together. They want authors to be encouraging, people at different stages. So just their energy. I just know it's going to be epic. I think it's going to be an iconic event in the writing industry, like very quickly, like something like Pitch Wars, where people come from all over, even from Australia, come from all over to see and be part of this. Just the energy doesn't lie. I'm convinced energy doesn't lie. And yeah, Nova, shout out to Nova for hooking us up with the girls to bring them on, and just knowing that she said it, she's like, you're going to get on like a house on fire. She was not wrong.
Nova knows. Yeah. No, their energy was so like, I felt it. I could feel their love for young adult books and the community. I mean, it was infectious. And so, I mean, I love those two. And I could, like you said, I could see this festival just blowing up because those two ladies have it. And they have the love for books and community, and that's what we're all about. So Melanie Schubert, I can't wait to see you in October of 2023 in Tampa, Florida.
I'm gonna cry when I see you. Like, I'll probably cry my head off.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so strange because we see each other every day, but like in person, it would definitely be like a moment of like, oh my gosh, celebrity.
Yeah. I'll be looking up and you'll be like, dang, you really are that short. Well, how are you, Melanie?
Yeah, I'm good. I had a quieter kind of week. Well, initially, I think I kept trying to push myself to do something. And I just like had this moment of like, it takes a second for me. I don't know why. It takes a moment for my brain to like seethe over things. And like, because I think when I'm in that working mindset, I'm like, okay, what next? What else can I do? What else can I? And I was in the kitchen, I was making rice pudding. I was staring at, and I was just like, this is nice, just doing nothing. And I was like, oh, well, because you need a fucking break. Like, why are you even trying so hard to think of like, I was like trying to think of like how to do another different post for when we share the episodes and like reformat something. And I was just like, no, just go fucking relax. So I just sat on the couch once and my rice pudding was done. Yes, it was epic.
Good.
And I just sat and I watched have you seen Thai Cave Rescue?
No, I have not.
But I feel like you will love it. It's very closely based on those boys that got trapped in the cave.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was bawling. It was such a moving piece of work, the way they've put it together. They did everything right. Like I have zero things to complain about. It's like a 6-part miniseries. So it's exceptionally well acted in my opinion. And just the way they dealt with it. Oof.
Yes.
How everyone came together, like all the countries of the world coming together to like try save these boys in this cave. It was like so moving.
Can't we just do that? Like, why is it so hard, right? Like, why is it so hard to just be nice to each other? I don't know.
This will give
That's what I would do if I was president. I'd be like, can we just be nice?
Angela Montoya for president. Yes. Can we please make that happen?
That's my slogan. Can't we just be nice? That's it.
I love it. How have you been?
Good. I have had a slow week as well. Like I've just not written anything all week. And I've been thinking about things, but not writing. And so that's good. I feel good. I'm expecting line edits. So I've just been kind of waiting. I wasn't sure if they were coming like right at the beginning of the week. So I didn't want to like get back into revisions for book 2. But they haven't come yet. So I've just been chilling and it's been nice. I just feel like once I do get back into revisions, I'll be ready. But this break was really necessary.
You need the time to switch your mind off, I think. I was working on stuff anyway. I don't know why I was putting this invisible pressure to do more because I'm still doing that doing my read through with my husband.
So you read it out loud to him?
Yeah, well, because he's a truckie.
Yeah. So like you're on the phone calling him?
Yeah.
Oh, this is romantic. This is kind of... And so are you acting it out? Like, are you like, hey...
I do the voices.
You do the voices.
Yeah, and to be honest, my poor husband, bless his soul, like historically, when I would read to him, I would revise as I did it, which is really painful for the listener. If you're like, hang on, I used to do it a lot, but now I'm really conscious of that's not actually like important for that type of revision. I want to make sure that he's feeling the story. So yeah, like I'll just try read it to him like an audio book and do the voices and stuff. And I feel like the first few chapters I was like, okay, I don't know if he's really into it yet. Maybe I haven't quite hit the mark. But the last few chapters he went very quiet and like very, when someone's really listening and they're kind of like craning their head forward a little bit, like waiting for what's going to happen. I could feel that, even though it's on the other end of the phone, or sometimes on the weekend when he's home, we'll read it with a wine or whatever. But yeah, he's on the road like all day. So when he has a longer drive,
you keep him entertained.
Yeah, exactly. I am his audiobook.
Yes. Oh, I love that. I can't imagine like reading it to anybody. So I love that. I love that you do that. You guys are so cute.
Honestly, it felt really uncomfortable sharing my early work with people, but I think maybe because of my first book, Gregory and the Grimbuckle, once you start working with people and you're like forced to show them raw stuff, Feels so freaking uncomfortable, but kind of once you push through, it becomes addictive. Sharing, like even like how I share snippets on my page. I never used to do that, not to that level, but it starts to become addictive to kind of see like what people relate to, and like if it's hitting the mark in the early stuff. I don't know.
I really like that. I love that, because I'm feeling like with this second book, I don't want anybody, like, I'm just so nervous about it, because I've got the first one, they bought it because they liked it, but this one was just like part of the deal, and so I'm just like I feel very nervous to let anybody right now. I mean, maybe once it's a little more polished, but I'm getting this like weird, like stage fright. And so I know it has potential, like it's going to be really good, and like it's going to be so like sobby at the end, because it's like a star-crossed lovers, like they can't be together thing. So I was bawling.
That's, if you made yourself cry, you've hit those emotional notes for sure. Because I would argue it's harder to make yourself cry with your own work than it is for a stranger reading it. So I know what you're talking about though, and I've been there. It's like very, not to that quite extent that you're like 2-book deal and you're like feeling the pressure of book 2, but like it's daunting. It's like but I would say that, yeah, you're your own hardest critic, and don't be afraid to let people see it, because I bet nobody is expecting the level of polish that Sinner's Isle is at now. And you know what? They would see complete trash fires come to them, because people have to sometimes give them the first, like you've finished well before deadline, so you have time to polish, but sometimes people like pumping to the last minute, they have to submit the trash fire draft, and the editors are going to work with that. So I think it's going to be amazing.
Thank
Tell
you.
your editors that you've killed this already.
Got it. I've got this. And I think, I don't remember who probably told us this on the show, or maybe it was Courtney Kay and something we were talking about before. I don't remember, but like, or it's probably you said it, knowing you probably said this genius thing. But like, to remember that like Sinner's Isle is polished, and it took a lot to get to that level. Like the second draft was not that. And so I keep like maybe thinking I need to be where Sinner's Isle is with this second book, but it just can't, because Sinner's Isle has been through layers and layers of like tweaks and pulls and shifts. And this baby hasn't even, it's a little baby virgin book,
Exactly. But especially because you're working on both at the same time, you may have to remind yourself what you just said. You might have to remind yourself every day. I don't know why, like, but if your brain is like mine, those kinds of things that don't come naturally to us to think. And just remind yourself that every day. Sinner's Isle has been polished a million times, like over exaggerator of the century, like dozens and dozens of times you have read over that. Other eyes are reading over it. And so, yeah, like it is going to feel different. It is going to feel rougher. And you might still have the editor be like, yeah, tear that chunk out. Like we think it should go in this direction. And you're like, oh, yeah, actually, that feels good, or whatever it is. It might still need chunks torn out of it. So you don't want to polish it too hard either. You know what I mean?
That's good. Very good. Thank you. I'm going to tattoo that right across my forehead.
No, but sometimes we just need the reminder every day. And I bet that's why there's this whole book 2 stigma that people freeze up writing it. You had old Aussie Lightning and Revision Race.
No, it has saved me. The Australian Lightning has struck, and I have been saved. It really, I mean, I don't think I would have ever gotten this far. So
you would have. I'm just taking the piss, but
no, but it's true though. Take the piss. Whatever.
You not say that either. Taking the piss. It's like, I mean, like taking the Mickey out of someone. It's basically giving someone shit. Like,
okay. I mean, I understood where you were going.
What's the word for it there? Because you surely do it there.
Like knocking the wind out of your sails or whatever?
Nah, but it's like lighthearted. Knocking the wind out of someone's sails
Okay.
sounds
Yeah,
like
that's
you
true.
wanna actually bring them
Like,
down.
okay, I'm just busting your balls. Kind of like a
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Maybe
okay.
America just doesn't have as much Australians, we like curse at each other for fun.
Yeah, yeah. I've noticed. No, I'm just kidding.
It's like I read something the other day that the C word, I won't grace the podcast with that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
in Australia, it's like the highest form of flattery if you call someone a rad.
That is, it's fun. It's funny because I think that's why, like Americans love Australians so much because you guys are like hilarious to listen to. So,
Well,
so when you come to Tampa, you will have just fans all around you because you're Australian. We just love Australians. I've never met an Australian I haven't liked. Granted, I've only met maybe 10. So
legit.
yeah, I might be exaggerating. I maybe like 4.
We're pretty good people
Yeah,
as
that's
a
good.
general. There's definitely like bad Aussies like anywhere, but I feel like as a general, Aussies have
Yeah.
good class or something.
Yeah, I mean, from my expertise of watching Byron Bayes, I am now an Australian expert, and everybody seems great.
That is not a good sample, just by the way. But before we forget, we should probably read the bio.
Yeah, it's just
Oh, there's no bio.
they gave a little rundown, but if you want to do the individual,
Nah. You know what? I think that they sold themselves. We don't really need to do much for
yeah,
this episode. I think it's just gonna go off.
yes, I love them.
Oh, Smokey, he always
Yeah. Hey, Smokey's looking a little chunky, isn't he?
he is, but I live for it.
I know.
But I have a French bulldog, so that looks normal to me, that size.
He's like a little burrito right now.
Smokey, you gonna take that? Attack!
Oh no, he just left because he heard someone in the kitchen. So he's got a problem.
I forgot. I wanted to ask you about your goats. Because the other day it just dawned on me that I never asked why you keep them. Are they pets or do you milk them?
Girl, no.
What? It's not bad. My auntie and uncle used to keep them for milk.
I know. We have neighbors that do it, and they sell the goat milk, like cheese, and then also make face cream.
Yeah, good for everything.
Really great, but no, I do not. We have. Could you see me out there just?
I could, and I laughed so hard.
These are boys. My goats are boys, so that's not happening.
Oh my God.
So anyway, why by the bay?
Sorry, it just popped into my head.
Just out there milking goats.
You should though. It's an untapped resource.
You know, maybe someday. When you come to Tampa, we'll go to a goat farm.
Oh my gosh. And you will all want to go to Tampa after you hear this episode now with these 2 incredible humans who we're just so honored to have had on the show. And without further ado, here they are. No more goats, no more random goat segues.
All right. Welcome to the show, ladies. Thanks.
Hi.
We are so excited to have you on. You guys both look amazing. The books in the back look perfect.
Glorious.
Yeah, so thank you guys for coming on. We have to thank Nova as well. Anybody that Nova brings our way, we instantly, it's like instant buy, like yes.
Yes.
So she messaged us and was like, hey, and she was so excited after talking to you two, and just pumped about all the things that are coming ahead for you both. And so as soon as we heard about you, Melanie and I were like, we need to get on the YA by the Bay train right now. So welcome to the show.
Yes,
Thank you. Let's get right into it because time always goes way too fast, especially with all of us here together. Can you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves individually?
Yeah, sure. Even though we joke that we share a brain, we'll take turns. We'll take turns sharing our shared brain. I write young adult, and I co-author with Dominique. I have a book out on my own as well, and then I'm a news anchor and reporter. That's a news anchor by day, novelist by night. And I worked as a news anchor in Boston for years and moved down to Tampa after that because I was cold. I was tired of covering snowstorms. And yeah, I'm a mom. I have a 6-year-old, and just I love being down here in the sunshine. And this is where I met Dominique.
Oh,
Yes.
So you're both based there?
Yeah, we're both in Tampa. And I used to, well, not used to be, I don't even know. I don't know who I am or what I'm doing. I really love unicorns though.
Yes. That's all that
all that matters, really. Yes, unicorns. So I'm mom of twin boys. I have 2 boys. They're 7 years old. And my background is I'm actually a CPA and worked in accounting for a very long time, but I always wanted to, love books, wanted to be an author as well. And so here I am kind of starting this conference with Sorboni and writing books and doing all that. And so that's me.
Yeah.
I love that you guys have kids in similar ages. How fun.
That's actually how we met. That's the funny part. I had just moved down here and I interviewed her husband because he's an expert in taxes, all the exciting stuff. And he broke it down in this really great way. And we were walking out of the station and I'm making small talk like, hey, what do you have going on this weekend? Anything good? Thanks for the interview. And he's like, oh, well, I'm celebrating my twin boy's 2nd birthday. And I was like, 2nd birthday? I have a 1.5-year-old and I just moved down here. That's awesome. And he said, yeah, well, my wife used to do what I did. She was CPA, but now she's staying home to focus more on young adult writing, which has always been her dream anyway. And I just remember standing there going, wait a second, I just moved down here and there's somebody with boys my age who also is a YA writer. And I completely blind play dated. I was like, do you think it would be awkward if I invited your wife for a play date for the boys? And she walked in my house. She was all excited. I said, do you want coffee or wine? She said, yes. And we've been writing ever since.
Oh my gosh.
And the kids got along so well that day.
I think they're brothers.
Yeah, they think they're brothers. They met at 1.5 and 2. So the twins were 2, Jace was 1.5, and they're little besties as well. So there's a whole plan. Their husbands are, working on the husbands. It's great.
I love it. Well, it sounds like it was meant to be then in every way. It's the coolest thing.
A fated meeting, if one were to believe in such things, it's that secret destiny. Your lives cross with just the right people. I feel like that about meeting Angela through Pitch Wars. It was just we also sometimes say that we share a brain because we'll preempt each other's thoughts before we even think the thought.
We finish each other's sentences a lot, and sometimes I'm I actually try to stop because I'm like, wait, I didn't mean to take that from you, but we're on the same wavelength, and and we do a lot of things we think differently, but enough the same that we gel. But when it comes to how we approach writing or how we approach anything, we look at it, I'm a plotter, she's a pantser. I look at the big picture a lot of times. She looks at the right here in the immediate. And so it's actually a really good push and pull because it we complete each other in the writing process.
We love all the cheesy love here on the show. We are about that Parmesan life, and it just makes me so happy. And that's what I come to this community for, honestly, because we talk about it a lot on the show, the kind of I'm sure you've both encountered the opposite side of the writing community where it can be very that scarcity mindset. So when you meet people, and I think that's why when we find that community, we're just hello, friend.
That is completely it. And that's what we did experience, as we were traveling around at various conferences and festivals. we believe there's a seat at the table for everybody. You know, everybody can jump in the van and go to the party. There's room. We want you at our party. And so we also noticed that sometimes the readers were coming, they were meeting their author idols, they were getting their books signed, and they were moving on. And the authors had so many amazing things to say, and even their own experiences becoming a writer. It's a tough dream to reach for. And we started thinking, well, what if we could facilitate a conference that let the reader really get to know the writer, and the writer really impart the wisdom that they've gathered over the years chasing this hard to reach dream, and make it be more of almost a mentorship, a leadership conference starring authors.
Wow, that is really, really cool. Because I was going to ask, you know, what is YA by the Bay? You know, what is the ultimate goal? And that sounds amazing, because it always does feel like this separation, right? And so to have a moment where they get to interact and learn and grow from each other, I love that. I love that so much. That sounds magical.
I was telling one of my colleagues at work what it was all about. And I was like, basically, you know, I'm rambling on the commercial break. I'm like, anyway, so what we're going to do, I'm all excited. We're turning readers into leaders. And he stops me, goes, wait, say that again. I'm like, we're turning readers into leaders. That sounds good. And that's exactly what we're doing. So that's kind of what we've been working with. And it's all about teaching young people, you can be the author of your own life. You can reach your happily ever after every day. And writing can be your saving grace. I know for Dominique, especially, I mean, the power of story, Dom, in terms of helping balance the tough things in life.
Oh yeah. I mean, for me, because we talk a lot about why, by the way, what is the why behind our mission? And one of the things that we've comes up over and over again is that YA saves lives. And what we mean by that is that a lot of times, you know, especially for teenagers, like finding yourself in a story can be so powerful. And then not only that, the escape that it can give you when you're going through something tough in life, and when you're dealing with something that you're, you know, struggling with, whether it's a tumultuous home life or a bad breakup or whatever it might be. But for me, I mean, as a child growing up, I lived, breathed, like loved everything books. I read everything Nancy Drew, everything R.L. Stine ever wrote. It was so funny. One day I was talking to Sorboni and I was like, yeah, you know, it's crazy. When I was a teenager, the bookshelves, they only had, R.L. Stine was like the only writer out there. And she's like, what are you talking about? There was Judy Blume. There was like all these different books. And I'm like, oh, well, all I read was R.L. Stine and Archie comics. So I don't know. After I graduated from Nancy Drew, I went to Archie comics and then R.L. Stine. And so Fear Street novels. But basically, as an adult, I went through about 6 years ago, 5 years ago, I went through a really, really a deep depression. It was probably one of the worst depressions I've had in my life. And I basically kind of shut down from the world and just went insular. I just had my babies. I think it was postpartum, plus some other things that were coming up. And it rocked me. It was, and the crazy part is I met Sorboni like at one of these lowest points in my life. And somehow when I was with her, I didn't have that, you know, I was kind of escaping from that place. But with the reading, with the books, I found a safe place in reading, and I read like 100 books in a year. Like they were my friends. I was like, I need these books. I love these books. I would be like talking about them. And I'm like, well, you know, and I'm talking about Katniss and Farah and everybody, like they're like my people. And after reading all those books, I was like, that's when I kind of decided I wanted to pursue fiction again and really get back into it, and wanted to give back to this community that has given me so much. And so writing was part of that. But then YA by the Bay is also another manifestation of that dream, because what everybody was talking about earlier about wanting to build community. We want to build community with the readers, but we also want to build community in the industry with the authors that come and any of the industry professionals. And so that is something that's going to be a huge focus at the conference, is that inclusion, and there's room for everybody at the table.
I had chills so many times just listening to you guys right now, because young adult really, I mean, it does save lives. I know I keep hearing it's just books, but it's not just books. And especially I want to like for me personally, why I started writing YA in particular was, my kids would come home and all the characters looked a certain way. They didn't look like my kids. They didn't look like how me growing up. And so I wanted to infuse, my culture and have somebody that looks like me or my family on the cover. And I feel like so much with YA in particular, because it is so open, and I feel like they really are doing such a great job of bringing all these different experiences and cultures, into the mix. And it's just this beautiful place where we're all learning. Because I feel like even as adults, we go back to YA and we're like, oh, yes, that's the experience I needed to learn about, or I needed to like live out through this book. So YA, it's like you hear people give it crap, but really it's this beautiful genre, right? Like it's just anytime I hear somebody talk shit about YA, I'm like, we will fight right now. Like I will
join you in that fight. I will, absolutely. Because I think some of the best literature out there being published today is in young adult. Like I absolutely adore it. And I have a hard time actually picking up adult novels. Every time I do, I'm like, no, I need a little more immediacy. And I kind of want to fuse with my character.
Yeah. I think I always make the analogy with covering a news story and a fire. And there are a lot of different angles that go into that let's say there's a huge fire, right? When you cover the story, there's going to be the actual call to action, help, there's a fire, then there is the fire and it's burning down. And then there's the heroic person who comes in, and then there are the hot flames. And then there's another whole story that comes that's, well, what started the fire? What went wrong? Who do we blame? And what's left in the ashes? And I feel like adult books are digging around in the ashes to find all the answers and starting you after. And young adult is that fire that forged you. And I think that's why we go back to that as adults. We can remember first love. We can remember first heartache. We can remember the first time we lost a loved one, lost a friend, realized that the world was a place that we could make a difference in and have our voice be heard. All those ups and downs. It reminds us of the moments that formed us. So I say that I like to write right in the middle of the fire, like drop me in the fire. I'm writing about that. And I think that's part of the thing with YA by the Bay too. These kids are being forged right now. And so what help can we give in terms of a platform to be heard and to learn how to use their words and their voice and turn their dreams into actual action plans, where someone's not going to say, you can never be that, you can never do that. We're going to say, you know what, that's an awesome goal. Go in that direction. And this is how. Maybe you never reach that huge lofty goal, right? But you go in that direction and you're going to land somewhere on that ladder. You're going to probably be pretty happy.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's it right there. Yeah. I've got chills. You nearly made me cry with what you said before. And I think like with YA, that's the thing as well. Like you're dealing with young adults and they're not going to waste their time on shit. You have to hold their attention with every word. And I wonder if, because I really resonated with what you said, Dom, because I, like about 5 years ago, I had a massive, colossal nervous breakdown, and YA was one of the things I found. And it was one of the only things my brain could process. Reading Hunger Games, reading like Lady Taylor, my brain was just like, I can handle this. I can gobble this up. And I wonder if it's that like, I cannot let eyes look away from this because teenagers are going to read it. I wonder if it makes it easier to digest, if it and it's so hopeful. YA is so hopeful and empowering. So for those of us, I think, who try to live like that, we're like, we don't want to read the books about the people who gave up. Give me the books about the people on fire for life, who are going to fight for things, who are going to scream about things. And I just love it.
Yeah, I'm just over here just like, thank you.
Well, I'm fire for life. I love that. Yeah. Give me the stories about the people who are on fire for life. Yeah. I'm stealing that. I'll give you credit.
Take it, please. Those are our
I
people.
have just had goosebumps this like last 10 minutes, I swear.
Me too. Like listening to you all and just like talking about this, because everybody's so passionate about it here. And so that's really what led us to wanting to do this. And also, you know, Florida doesn't have anything really like this yet. And so we're hoping to kind of be that place in Florida that all the young adult authors can come once a year.
Oh, it's going to be fun. Like, can we just tell you that part? Like, authors deserve to be rock stars. So when they come, we want our community of authors to, you know, come to the airport. It's a waterfront convention center. There are waterfront bars and restaurants, a little boat that can take you down to an amazing food court. There's a river walk. We are going to have an author welcome reception at this incredible independent bookstore that also has like a restaurant, a gift shop, a tea stall, a coffee spot. Like it's gorgeous. And
we gave a little sneak peek of that on both of our Instagrams.
Yeah. So we just want people to come, and like my son will sometimes say like the emojis with the stars or the hearts in their eyes. He'll be like, look, Mom, I've got like, you know, the stars in my eyes. That's what I want to send everybody. Little stars.
I can't stop smiling. My face hurts from smiling listening to you two. And I just can't thank Nova enough for hooking us up to have you on, because this just sounds like the event of, everybody's going to come for this event. It sounds like the goods. I'm going to have to come from Australia one day.
I think
you will. We have to have you there.
And do you know what? I'm having FOMO now because my last book was adult. So I'm suddenly missing writing YA. So I think the next one's got to be YA again.
We have a couple adult authors that are already that want to come volunteer and be a part of it. And so it's not just going to be YA. We're going to have the publishing community. We have a plan.
It's the message too. I mean, we have agents who are interested in coming, and again, like agents, editors, because this is about teaching kids the writing process. So on the Friday of the conference, it's actually a day dedicated only to students and teachers. And the authors who volunteer, they'll teach classes and workshops for these aspiring writers. And they'll also be giving the credits to the teachers who need their continued learning and to get those professional credits. So that'll be a way that we can give back to the teachers to then take stuff into the classrooms where they're not having to pull from their family time and their downtime. They can come during their day and hopefully go back super galvanized with all these ideas for their students. And then Saturday is like open to the public. And of course I have, Comic-Con dreams. I imagine that there's, cosplay characters running around in photo booths and Instagram and TikTok influencers going live everywhere.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is what I see.
Harry Potter trivia.
Yes.
Fuck yes. Yes. Dream it. Do it. It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, we booked the convention center. So we have plans. It's like, there's no going back. We looked at each other. We're like, okay, we have to put the deposit down. Obviously this is all we should say is a nonprofit. So it's a nonprofit. We're raising money for it. We're getting grants for it. We're getting in-kind donations, but obviously like we had to front the initial. So we looked at each other and I remember Dom going, okay, so in like, a year and a half, if this whole thing like goes bust, are we able to do this? I'm like, we will, because it won't. It won't anyway, but if we just like book it, we have to make it happen. So it's happening.
It's happening. We're speaking it into existence. It's going to be the event. So, okay, let me ask. So Saturday, now I'm in. I'm already in my head. I'm coming.
That's awesome. We want you there.
I'm coming. Awesome. What do we do Saturday? What's the plan?
So Saturday, it's going to be more like your traditional, festival. And so we'll have panels, we'll have the book signings. We'll hopefully have we really want some Comic-Con characters walking around. We want something going on there. What Sorboni mentioned about having the influencers, that's something we're definitely going to be reaching out to and hopefully having a team of influencers there. And we're still kind of working through how that will all look. But that's going to feel a lot more like your traditional festival. And we'll have the panels, and the day before on the Thursday, that's when it'll just be the teens and the educators.
Yeah.
Friday. I'm sorry. Thursday night is the author welcome event. That's the one that's going to be at the fun bookstore that we're partnered with. But on Thursday, that's when the teachers and the educators and not Thursday, I said it again, Friday is when they will be there. And then Saturday is when the public will be invited. And we're partnered with the county schools, we're partnered with the local library. And so we've got a lot of channels to hit the outreach into the community.
Wow.
And get everyone there.
And we have a couple authors we're not saying yet, but we will let you know as soon as we can. But we do have some authors who have committed that we're super excited about. Yeah. And, then we have wonderful authors in our community that we're meeting like you both every day, where we're like, okay, how do we get every single author that we love here?
You just locked in the Angela Montoya. That is that brings with it a certain level of credential. And
there you go.
Any event with you two at the helm of it is going to be a raging success, because you can't squash that kind of fire. And I feel like it's kind of like when people plan a wedding, and there's two kinds of people. There's one, no matter if everything goes right, they'll still find something to be miserable about. But your personality, your energy, even if it rained, even if it like the cake caught on fire, even if your dress dragged through the mud, you would find a way to make it epic and memorable, and it would be the best event ever. So I just feel like it's going to be a real treat for whoever shows up.
I love the confidence in us. And when when we have those fires that come up, I'm going to remember that speech.
Yeah.
It'll be embedded in my brain. We can do this, and it's going to be great no matter what.
You can, no matter if the cake catches on fire. I don't know.
And we have people to put it out. We've been really incredibly honored to build out a team of more than 10 people, people who from book buyers and publishing house people to librarians to teachers. So each person brings this incredible wealth to the table. And that's what we're so excited about, because we know that we're going to be able to pull this off, because, and everybody's doing this, they're volunteering. This is a nonprofit. All of the money that we raise will go back to supporting the event and, hopefully getting books in the hands of students in underfunded schools as well. So we have a lot of long-term goals, and this is just year one.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've got a couple main programs to start out. And the big one is the festival. And we really want to be able to give books to teens in underprivileged schools. And then the other thing that's unique that we're doing is we are going to be doing writing scholarships for teens. And so it's going to be a scholarship contest that is based on like a short story fiction, nonfiction, and a poetry. So an essay and like poetry. And we're working with teachers in the local area and the Tampa Bay area writers program, who are helping us find places that the winners can also be published, magazines that they can have their work published in. And so that's another program that we are working on and getting kickstarted and up and going.
This is just amazing, because it's not only just this event where writers get to come and kind of brag about their work and people just sit and listen. I mean, you guys are really pouring back into the community, and you're bringing the backbone of publishing and writing, which are librarians and teachers.
Yes.
It makes me so happy to hear it, because really they are the most important, right? And giving back to kids and getting books in kids' hands and all of it is really why we do this. And so again, I just have to bow, because you guys are doing something that not only kind of brings the writing community together, but the readers, and it's giving back, and it's a community event. And I'm just obsessed with you guys right now. So, so thank you.
I am too.
I'm so excited how excited you are. And it goes to show what you were saying before. It's like, do you remember the communicative axiom in math? If A equals B, B equals C, then what is it? Then A equals C, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. You lost me at the communicative. I was like, that sounds good.
No. I'm gonna do it. My Indian dad would be ashamed of me if I can't do it. If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. So basically, the sheer fact that Nova introduced us as our B, like obviously A and C, we're gonna think alike, And so then it's that amazing friendship math where you just find the energy that you all have in common. Just, I had when we met Nova at a different conference, she instantly, lit up over this idea. And she's been so instrumental in introducing us to people who are like-minded, to the point where I don't even know anybody anymore who wouldn't like YA by the Bay, because I just don't hang out with people who aren't like that. Like if you don't like this idea, I probably don't know you.
Yeah. It's also really encouraging to us when we share about it, and it speaks to other people as well. And it just tells us that this is the right thing. It is the right direction to go, because it is a labor of love, and it is the thing that we're doing day in, day out, and spending a lot of time on, and it's really volunteering and giving too, and it's a lot. It's fun, but there's a lot we have to do. It's encouraging when others are on board and catch the mission.
Yeah, I can only imagine what it takes to do something like this. Yeah. I mean,
oh yeah, me too. I just imagine it. I just keep telling Dom she's going to do all the work, and I'm going to show up at the conference and be like, "Isn't it great?"
Yeah, this is what I do full time. This and writing, and so I and with my background in, like I said earlier, with the CPA, and I've worked in public accounting at Deloitte, and I've worked at a consulting firm. I was a controller. I've done a lot of different things in business. I've worked in startups, and so that background has helped a lot with being able to kind of build this thing from the ground up, because there's a lot of business stuff that goes into it that you have to do, that especially with a nonprofit, a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross. And then just the other day, I was like, my husband, again, the tax professor, he's also a lawyer. And so the other day, I'm like, you know what? I need your help. There's certain things that I would like for you to take over now, because you're actually more of the expert than me. And so can I hire you?
Yeah. Can I hire you for free?
Well, for free.
Yeah, for free. Volunteer it. Well, I can tell honestly, because even on just the Instagram, your guys' Instagram page, YA by the Bay, it is so professional. Yeah. And, everything you guys have already just started to do looks legit. Like it looks like it's already this like seasoned thing that's been happening.
We've been working on this for a year, building the foundation for a year. We started in last November, and we've had such great support. Our Oxford Creative, I have to give a big shout out to Oxford Creative Studio. They are the ones who did our branding. They're doing our website, and that's going to be launching soon, which I can't wait for that to come out, because it'll have so much more information on it. But without that support, they've really helped us create some of that foundation as well. And so, like I said, there's a vision and there's an idea, but we're just so amazed by the people who've come alongside us and are helping us turn this into something that
it's so amazing to see. And yeah, I mean, we've been working on it for a year, but we came up with the idea like
Good point.
3 years ago. And it was so funny because I don't know who thought that this was okay, but our tickets weren't next to each other on the airplane, and we had nobody to talk to. And she was like way in the back, and I was like crammed in the middle. And right as we were sitting down, right before you turn off your phones, I'm texting her. I'm like, I'm gonna be so bored. I miss you already. And then I was like, we should start a young adult conference of our own. And she sent the same exact thing, but we had turned our phones off. And so we didn't know, like we didn't get each other's message until we landed 3.5 hours later. And we turned on our phones and we had literally texted each other, we should start a YA conference. And we had and so the two of us were just sitting there for 3 hours, like taking notes alone in our seats separately to try to make this pitch. Like, do you want to do this crazy thing with me? And we were exactly on the same page.
That's wild. Well, obviously the universe has spoken.
Yes. And I just love that you've got all these people naturally. It's like, I know I say this a lot on the podcast, but your vibe attracts your tribe. I am convinced of it. And so that's probably why like Nova would be drawn like a little bee to the honey pot, because she's such good energy and such like she just would have felt that force of energy and come straight for it. Because
I feel like we just were drawn to each other. It was like, because she's like, yes, she's amazing. And it was like, Nova, you're Insta friends. Like we're friends for life now. We've known each other for 2 days and we're obviously best friends now forever.
That kind of gal. What are you guys looking forward to the most with this festival?
I think the gathering of people, you talked about the vibe and the tribe and the energy. I'm so excited to feel the people's energy in the room and to see the smiles light up on faces. I know it's going to be a tangible energy. And I just, that's what I'm looking forward to, the buzz of everybody talking, the way that a student looks at at an author teaching them, an author being like, wow, I had this, chance to tell my story. So that's the biggest thing for me, is just getting all these amazing minds in one place.
And I'm 100% on like track with you on that one, because I think there's going to be just this, I swear I'm going to probably be running around like just on the high of all the people in the community that's there, and just and I can't wait to see the teens afterwards and maybe hear some of their stories. We have several librarians, teachers on our leadership team, and I can't wait to hear what they say to their teachers when they get back, and kind of see what kind of impact it made for them. And I'm going to be standing there in October being like, we did it. We're here. Like, I keep envisioning myself and like her and I, like Sorboni and I, like at the opening reception saying we're here, and like, kind of talking to everybody, and I can just see everyone in the room, and I can see the conference. And that vision is what keeps me going the whole time. Is just like, it happened and we made it. It's existing. It's here. It's real.
And it's kindness too, the kindness and the hope that you were talking about being in YA, the hope. I really, the biggest thing that I want people to take away from that, whether they are maybe a slightly burned out author who's wondering why they do it and they're on deadline, or they're a teacher who's just loaded down, or they're the student who's been told you'll never be able to be that, like 2 people in the world ever get to be that. I just hope for hope. I want it to be the place where it might not be the biggest, fanciest conference. It might not have all the big publishers or the huge bestsellers. I mean, it might, but I think that I want people to say, like, that's the place where you leave and you almost feel like you went to a wellness retreat, and your soul is a little bit fixed.
So
yes,
a wellness retreat for book lovers.
Yes, we are your fresh pressed juice. We are your yoga for your brain and your heart. I know. I just really hope that people leave feeling like they came to a place where they're loved and they're respected and they're worth it. And there's no less than, and there's this whole feeling of calling in.
Wow.
And we want the community to be like anyone who's further ahead in their journey as an author, to be pulling up and bringing, like, reaching alongside and saying, how can we help each other? How can we be together and a part of this and grow together? And so we're excited.
Wow.
I'm excited.
I know. I can just see it in Melanie's eyes. Her eyes are just shining bright. I just see them.
Cry
just plan your trip. Like, you have a year to plan. You have a year to plan.
Yes. Listen, if we booked a convention center, sort of like, on a wing and a prayer, I think that you can book a ticket from Australia.
It could happen. It could happen.
I think it has to. It's been said. So now it's official.
It's
I'm
clearly
super good.
It's to happen.
Yeah.
That you'll be here in Tampa in a year.
Yeah. I'm super good at being relentless. I will stalk you and make you come. I'll be like, hey, it's been a minute. Hey, hi. Oh, and then you know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start sending, doing all these awesome pictures of Tampa and all these events. And I'm just going to tag you in them to try to give you FOMO. So you come.
I have major FOMO. What's sticking out to me the most is this gorgeous sense of community. And what you said before, there's room at the table for everyone. And I think that your whole event is just going to bring so much life to people, like you said, because everybody has the imposter syndrome, the doubts, the fears, no matter how confident you come. It's like, we always say, a lot of people are surprised. Angela and I are major introverts because we do this show, but it's like, there is other sides to us all. And we all need that affirmation of something like this, the community of something like this. So I see our time has evaporated. I'm just so honored to have had you both on the show, and we are going to be screaming for you about this event till the cows come home. And yeah, thank you.
Thank
you.
Thanks
you.
for having
us. We'll have a lot of fun things happening too, in terms of some different, social media platforms and shows and things. So we will be circling back to have you maybe as our guests.
Oh, bring it on. And we will have to have you back again because we understand that you two are co-authors together and something fun is in the mix. And, I know we didn't really get to talk about it, but we're going to have you back on officially to talk about official news pretty soon.
We'll come back anytime, officially or unofficially. This was fun.
Whenever you need to scream about something joyful, we're here. That's basically what our show is about.
I love it.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
Oh, can you tell our listeners real fast where they can find you guys?
On Instagram is probably the best place for me. Dom Writes Books is my handle. And on Twitter and TikTok, it's Dom Writes Books.
Perfect.
Dom Writes Books, and I am at Sorbonified because it is the legitimate bonafide Sorboni. So it's my name, SORBONIED. So yeah, that's the platform.
DOMWRITESBOOKS.
Is that how you spell Writes Books?
Yeah.
That's good. It's good to know. It's good to know. And we'll put all of your
Go ahead before the listeners.
I wanted to do what you did, Sorboni.
Listen, you know what? That's like cute. She asks me on the regular, how do you have friends? Because I give her such a hard time. At least once a day. She's like, how do you have friends? And I go, I have one. She's like, it's not me. Not right now.
yeah, you're out.